Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be starting a series analyzing the obscure conspiracy theory iceberg shown here, a link to which will be in the description. Now you've probably already seen a lot of iceberg videos before, like maybe one by a Mr. Wendigoon that is literally about conspiracy theories, but I still thought this would be a fun idea for two reasons. The first being this is a different iceberg that has some concepts I haven't seen covered all that much on YouTube. And the second being that there are several things here I've seen other YouTubers cover in the past that have had some new breakthroughs or some level of closure brought to the concept in the past few years. So I think this would be the perfect time to follow up on them again. Layer 1. Knowledgeable. Now oddly enough, we are starting with a subject that took me more time than I expected to research, but I do think I've nailed down why this item is on the list. Area 6 was a nuclear test site and now a current aircraft base in Nevada that was home to 6 nuclear warheads. The site's original purpose was for nuclear testing, but in 2005, a runway and hangars were built on the land to further the U.S. Armed Forces unmanned aircraft projects. During its time as a nuclear testing site in 1982, the base was believed to have come under attack by a group of armed combatants during the transportation of a live nuclear bomb. This was later reported to only be a security drill, but many speculate that this is actually a cover-up to a potential foreign entity raiding the base and stealing the nuke. This theory has increased belief due to the site claiming to have detonated 6 nuclear bombs, but only 4 nuclear detonations ever being documented. The next topic I know has been covered on other icebergs before, but I was able to uncover some very recent news on this that I think you will all find interesting. Havana syndrome was first reported by officials from the US and Canadian embassies in Havana, Cuba. Victims claimed to experience occasional heightened pressure and a vibration equivalent to the feeling of driving in a car with the windows partially rolled down. The symptoms would be tied to specific individuals, as those in close proximity would not feel any of the symptoms. It was believed by many that the Cuban government or a foreign actor had created some kind of sonic weapon utilizing infrasound. In October 2017, Donald Trump said that he believed Cuba was directly responsible for the attacks, expelled 2 Cuban diplomats from the US, and heavily reduced staff at the Havana embassy. Now, a more recent update to the situation. In 2023, the US Army granted a $750,000 grant to Wayne State University. The goal of this grant was to test a sonic device on animals in a lab setting that would likely mimic the same sensations experienced by victims of Havana syndrome. Now, the results of this study have not gone public yet. We could very soon be at the brink of learning the truth of whether this entire situation was some form of mass hysteria, or if foul play was really involved. Gangstalking is a heightened form of traditional stalking, as instead of being one individual continuously harassing a target, it is instead from a large organized group of individuals with the sole goal to completely disrupt and ruin a person's life. The rise of the internet has increased the belief in gang stalking, as many claim that forums exist online that harbor communities of people all dedicated to organizing gang stalking. Unfortunately, those who believe they are the target of gang stalking could likely be suffering from a psychiatric condition. A study conducted in Australia and the United Kingdom found that out of 128 victims who believed to be targeted by gang stalking, no evidence could be found to validate their claims, and the individuals are likely just suffering from some level of delusion or mass hysteria. As of this time, I could not find any documented cases of true gang stalking, but if you know of one, please leave it in the comments below. I'm a little surprised to see this one on the list at all, as this is in no way speculation or theory, and entirely just a real aspect of most of our lives. Targeted advertising is the process of businesses targeting ads to specific individuals based on demographic metadata like race, age, gender, income, location, and overall lifestyle. This information is gathered from databases online when us as consumers willingly provide this information when interacting with the internet. This is why, if you search up a specific product for research or interest, you may come across ads for that product across devices with shared accounts in the following days. There are many that believe things like mobile phones and smart devices are continuously monitoring what we all say and do, and that this data contributes to targeting advertising as well. This is where the theorists generally lose me personally, as there is currently not much basis on those claims, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I have a feeling this one is more on here as a joke entry more than anything else, but I'll still give a quick explanation for those who don't know. There is a belief by many that the cryptid Bigfoot can be found lurking in the wilderness of the hit video game GTA San Andreas. Over the years, no definitive proof has ever been found, but many hoax videos have been created. Rockstar did provide some closure to this theory with the release of Grand Theft Auto V. If players manage to 100% the game, they are provided one last mission where their protagonist Franklin encounters what is either the actual Bigfoot or someone in costume. Klaus Schwab is a German engineer, economist, and founder of the World Economic Forum. Now, I'm fairly positive that Schwab himself is not the actual intention of this entry, and instead we should be focusing on a fairly recent initiative launched by the WEF in 2020 called the Great Reset. This initiative was started in response to the global pandemic as a way to rethink global investments and government expenditures. Many believe that this is actually a plan by the WEF and major world leaders to tear down capitalism and progress towards a one-world government under the cover of economic recovery. A wide variety of groups and individuals have made reference to aspects of this theory. Some of those include right-wing media figures like Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro, who have both made claims to the Great Reset being used to tear down citizens' freedoms and the structure of capitalism. There have also been many anti-Semitic groups across the world claiming that the WEF is controlled directly by Israel, with the end goal to have Israel become the center of this one-world government. Polybius is a story of a 1981 arcade game that was believed to have ties to the government. The game was believed to be a government-created psychological experiment based in Portland, Oregon. A person playing the game would supposedly experience intense psychoactive effects and even seizures, amnesia, insomnia, night terrors, and hallucinations. Mysteriously, the game seems to have disappeared without a trace only a month after its first appearing in arcades. Even more strangely is there are reports of government agents frequently checking up on the machines and extracting some form of data from them. Unfortunately, there has never been any hard evidence of this game actually existing, but there is evidence of video games in Portland, Oregon causing similar symptoms to children in 1981. The Eugene Register newspaper reported on November 29, 1981, that 12-year-old Brian Morrow played asteroids for more than 28 hours straight, trying to break the record as local television crews watched. He finally bowed out with stomach discomfort attributed to anxiety and all the coke he had drank. Researcher Kat Despira, writing in a 2012 edition of online vintage gaming publication Retrocade, discovered that a Michael Lopez developed a migraine headache while playing Tempest on the same day and in the same arcade where Brian Morrow was going for his record. Lopez was reported to the police when he collapsed in pain on someone's lawn. 2 players knocked out in the same arcade on the exact same day. Now, we still have no evidence to Polybius existing, but maybe this urban legend has more truth in it than we all thought. Gulf War syndrome is a chronic disorder that has affected veterans from both sides of the Gulf War. Symptoms have included fatigue, muscle pain, insomnia, rashes, and diarrhea. It's estimated that about 250,000 of the 697,000 U.S. veterans who served in the Gulf War have enduring symptoms believed to be related to this syndrome. This syndrome went years without any hard understanding of the cause until 2022, when researchers led by Robert Haley at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center found that exposure to sarin nerve gas in soldiers who had a specific genetic mutation prevented them from breaking down the nerve gas. This failure to break down the nerve gas in the body very likely explains the reason for the variety of symptoms for the Gulf War victims, and may just finally give many closure on this strange disease. Reports of sewer alligators began in the 1920s, mainly from residents of New York City. Many residents claim that the sewer system of the city is the home of a wide variety of potentially mutated alligators. The initial stories of sewer alligators came from Teddy May, the NYC Commissioner of Sewers at the time. Some believe that he created the stories, but evidence does exist to support his claims. NYC reports that over 100 alligators are rescued from the city per year, though they claim these are mainly caught above ground. In addition, up until the late 1950s, the state of Florida would allow many souvenir shops to sell live alligators. The belief is that NYC tourists would purchase alligators from Florida, then release them into the sewers when they became too much for them to deal with. The latest case of an alligator being found in the NYC sewers was in 2010, when a 2-foot baby alligator was rescued in the sewers of Queens by NYPD. It is still highly unlikely for many sewer alligators to be living long-term in New York City due to the harsher cold weather and climate in the winter months. CERN is the acronym used by the European Organization for Nuclear Research. And at first, I didn't quite understand why this was on the list. But let me read you a brief summary, and I think it'll be a lot clearer for all of us. The European Organization for Nuclear Research, or CERN, was established in 1954 in Switzerland by 12 member states. Since then, it's swelled to 22 member states and has made dozens of important discoveries, including the Higgs boson or God particle and invention of the World Wide Web. Okay, yeah, I can definitely see how an organization that is noted for creating both the internet and what is considered to be the God particle is the subject of conspiracy theories. CERN honestly has a lot of conspiracies tied to it that are pretty fun, so I'm just going to read off some from a list instead of diving into any specific ones. We have the belief that CERN is causing earthquakes across the world, opening portals into hell or other dimensions using the Hadron Collider, trying to shift our world into a new timeline, thus being the cause of the Mandela effect, and my personal favorite, in the early 2000s, the creation of the Hadron Collider was experiencing significant setbacks and technical delays. What was the cause of this issue? Well, obviously a time traveler from the future who had infiltrated CERN to prevent the collider from being completed. Many speculate that a technical failure that occurred due to a passing bird dropping a chunk of bread into some of the collider machinery was actually the time traveler's bird partner in crime assisting him on this mission. Honestly, this is why I love digging into this stuff so much, because I don't think I could have ever come up with a story like that myself. So that's the end of the first tier of this iceberg. Feel free to tell me what topics interested you in the comments below, and I encourage you to do your own research on some of these topics. Things will definitely get a whole lot crazier the farther down the iceberg, so expect more videos soon. As always, I appreciate you, and thanks for watching.